Yes, hello friends, welcome to BISP Solutions, and here is our series of business analyst planning and learning. So today is our introduction day 1. Now first of all, let me show you what is our agenda, right? First of all, in this 30-day journey you will learn the complete skill set of a business analyst. We will cover real world documentation like BRD, FRD, use cases, UAT script. You will also learn tools like Jira, Lucid Chart, Excel for the BA task, right? And after that we will see the live case studies, mock projects and stakeholder communication sessions included, right? And by the end of this 30-day journey you will be able to get a job ready, right? You will be a job ready to take on real BA role, business analyst role, right? So today is our first introduction day. Now first of all, let me explain you about actually what is business analyst, right? Now becoming a business analyst opens a door to higher impact roles where you resolve real business problems. Now business analyst means the one who analyze the client's business, right? And then he suggests the solutions and he communicate directly with the stakeholders, clients and technical teams. Whether you come from IT, finance, operation or are just starting a career, right? But learning BA skills is something different. The business analyst directly he does not write the code. He just communicate the client, take the requirements and then document it. So within the next 30 sessions I am going to show you exactly what are the responsibilities of business analyst, how what type of person can become a business analyst. All these things we are going to cover, right? So get ready for this journey. Now see what is a business analyst, right? So first of all we will see exactly what is a business analyst. So business analysis is the practice of identifying business needs and recommending relevant solutions. Now let's take an example, like there is a furniture selling company. Let's take any example, a very big business to business, right? They don't sell furniture to the client, they directly sell business to business. Now what they are doing, and one more thing we will learn this, that how business analyst fit from different businesses. For example, if there is an ERP, so how a business analyst fit in that field. Suppose there is a software engineering field, right? A company is asking for a IT company to build a software, so in that case how it fits to the requirement. So we will see all these case scenarios. Okay, now what is business analyst? So business analyst is a person who identify business needs and recommend relevant solutions. Suppose a company, furniture selling company, they want to upgrade their business and they are working, or they want to implement NetSuite, an ERP solution, right? Now how that ERP will help their business to grow faster, or what are the features given in the ERP can help them. So that is the task of the business analyst. Second, it involves bridging the gap between problems and technology solutions. Now see, the one who write the code, he is a technical person, and the one who communicate with the client is another person, that is the business analyst. Directly a programmer never communicate with the client, right? So it is the task of the business analyst. So that is why it is called as business analyst is a bridge between the client and the technical person. The technical person is always thinking about the code, how the things can be done technically, but what solution should we suggest to the client in order to do their work faster, in order to make their life comfortable. That is the task of the business analyst. A business analyst is a problem solver, the communicator and a collaborator. Problem solver means he resolves your problem. For example, if a company, let's take the same example, furniture selling company, it's a big company. Now they want that we want two-way approval in the purchase order execution. uh, let's take a scenario. I'm giving you a scenario. A business company, they are selling furnitures, but what happens in their current scenario, current business process, there is only one, there is no like approval process, just creation of purchase order, and then that purchase order is sent on the table of the supervisor, and then he says yes, okay, yes or no. So they want a two-way approval, like if the purchase order is greater than $10,000 or $20,000, and suppose if the business purchase orders are more than $50,000, so two-way approval, one-way approval, three layers of approval, so whichever n number of approval layers they want. So the business solver, or we can say the business analyst, he suggests them the solution that you, in this way you can do that, right? Problem solver is this. Then communicator. Now communicator means the same thing. Technical person never directly communicate with the client, so the communicator is the business analyst only, because he constantly communicate with the client and then he suggests the solution, right? The third thing is collaborator. Now collaborator means what exactly? For example, I am the business analyst, and suppose I communicate with the client, and they narrated all their whatever the business problems are there and all these things. So I suggested them that this is the solution. You can use the workflow. I'm taking an example of ERP implementation in a business, right? This is the example I am taking. Now I suggest them like you can use workflow, you can use approval process, our ERP. Let's take an example of NetSuite. Our NetSuite ERP, they are offering such type of facilities. So the business client say okay, but first show us a demo. So collaborator means now okay, I took their requirements and now I communicate with my technical team, and technical team, I ask them, okay, can you create such a example of demo example on this? They said okay. So this is how we take the collaborator works. Now let's take any other example. For example, imagine a college wants an online portal to manage attendance. Now again, a business analyst helps to gather the requirement from student, teacher, admin, and give it to the developer in a structured format. Same thing that I am taking. The business analyst, now there are different types of projects. Some are corporate project, as I take the example of like a furniture selling company. Now it's a corporate example, and if we take the college, simple college example, it's an academic like project, like college wants to just manage them. So it's not a CRM or it's not a ERP, it's a simple application development project, right? So this is how the analyst has to think. The role of the analyst is to think more, right? Just a second, let me check. Okay, fine. Yeah, okay, now again, yeah, now see here. Now who is the business analyst? Now our another question is, who can become the business analyst? Or see, the person who is having communication skills and who is having sufficient knowledge of that particular application, ERP or the software, he can become a business analyst, right? Now the translator between business stakeholders and the technical team. A very simple language definition is, the business analyst is a translator between the business stakeholders and technical team, because technical team possesses a different mindset. They always think about how the things can be done technically, yes or no, but what solution should be suggested to them so that the task becomes easier. As I just now I said that suppose in a current scenario the company is not having any approval process, so I can suggest them, you can use this workflow process, it will give you the ease, right? It will it also provides the transparency, right? Or the second definition, acts like a bridge between the business needs and what the IT can deliver. This is another definition of a business analyst. See, every application, every software is having its own limitations. So how that software delivers, or what that software delivers, that thing, and keeping that thing in mind, and whatever they want, or the client they want, so just act like a bridge between these two things. And the third is, business analyst directly never writes the code. They focus on what to build and why to build it, right? How it can be built, that is a technical team. Clear? So this is a complete I'm giving you the example of exactly what the business analyst is. Now our next point is, where does a BA fit in a company, right? Now see, where does a BA fit in a company? Now business analyst can be fit in almost maximum projects. For example, IT and software project. Let's take an example. IT and software. There is an IT service provider company that develops the softwares according to the business needs, and then they deliver. Here also business analyst is required. IT and software projects. Suppose, let's take an example of a company, a manufacturing company. Let's take any manufacturing company, right? Now in that manufacturing company, they want a ticketing system. Now it's a IT related project, it's a software project. They want a ticketing system in which the customer or the consumer, there is a ticket, and then that ticket can be escalated or it can be resolved, whatever they want. Now here also the business analyst is required. Business analyst means in other words, we can say the manager also, or the mostly it is called as business analyst. So the business analyst communicate with that client company, note down their requirements, and then prepare a BRD on that, and then that business analyst explain all those requirements to the technical team, because technical team write the code, right? They will do as it is whatever the business analyst instruct them to do, right? So in this way, IT based projects, in these IT based project, the business analyst is required. Now another, where does BA fit in a company? Second point is ERP implementation project, right? This is another space where a BA can be fitted. ERP implementation like NetSuite, for example, furniture selling company is there, and they wants to implement NetSuite in their company, right, in their business. Now for the last 20 years they have been using some other application. Now they want NetSuite to be implemented. Again here also business analyst is required, because the business analyst should communicate with the client and then take all the requirements, whether it could be order to cash, purchase to procure, any type of module, whichever. Now it depends on the client to client, right? It depends on client to client. So ERP implementation based projects also can be there, where a business analyst is required. Business analyst will communicate with them, then the business analyst will take all the requirements and then note down, and also business analyst provides the documentation also, that exactly what can be done, how it can be done, right? So mostly now if you see, there is a common word, documentation. Now mostly business analyst deals with the documentation task. In simple words, business analyst does not prepare the Excel sheets, or he does not prepare the code. He just prepare the documents, what is received from the client, what we are going to show to the client, exactly what we have completed. all these things are documented, and that business analyst keep track of all these. The third space where the third position where a business analyst is required, that is banking, finance, digital products. Now see, banking, finance and digital products, right? So let me make here just like this. Okay, the third part is banking, finance and digital projects. Now see, banking related projects. Now what are banking related projects means? Suppose in a bank a business analyst can be deployed. In suppose like a bank is implementing some application, right? Bank has developed some application for the government purpose, so there also business analyst is required, because from starting to end, what is taken, what scenario is taken, and exactly at the end whether we have accomplished all successfully. So this is what the business analyst is required. And government healthcare insurance, here also government, let's take government healthcare and insurance, right? These are the another some fields where a business analyst can fit. Now when the business analyst can fit here, see, there is one another term that is called stakeholders. Now business analyst is a post, right? Now the business analyst communicate with certain people from the client, they are called stakeholders, right? This is another term, stakeholders. See, BA communicates with these people. Now stakeholder means exactly what? For example, if a college principal, a person is running his own college. Now suppose that college is requiring to develop a application to manage the attendance. Now with whom I will communicate first? I will communicate with the principal, definitely with the principal. Secondly, I will communicate with the professors who teaches, right? So these are the two stakeholders. Stakeholder means the person with whom the BA communicates and take the requirement, that's it. Stakeholder means with whom the BA communicates and take requirements, that's it, right? So this is what the task of these are called the stakeholders. Now there are different stakeholders, like business owners or the clients, these are the stakeholders. Then we will see the project managers, they are also the stakeholders. The developers and tester. Why developers and tester? Because suppose I am a business analyst, I will not communicate only with the client, I have to communicate with my team also, that is called the technical team. So I will communicate with my technical team. Stakeholder means that person who is involved directly or indirectly in the project, that's it. Okay. End users and customers, they are also the stakeholders, because the one who actually works on the application. For example, in an end-to-end implementation of NetSuite on a furniture selling company, once the NetSuite is implemented, then who will work on that? Definitely the sales rep, the purchase rep, the sales supervisor. These all are called the stakeholders. And definitely in a complete project, a BA has to communicate every person step by step, one by one, right? Because I have to communicate with the end user also, that this is how you are going to work on this application. So definitely all these people who are involved in a project directly or indirectly, they are called the stakeholders. Okay. Now let's take this example, right? Here, typical activities of a business analyst. Now let's come to the another slide. Okay. Now see here, typical activities of business analyst. Now what is this typical activities? Understanding the business problem, right? This is the complete business. For example, the developer, he never know what is the business problem or whatever. If you ask him to develop a simple project, he will develop whatever you want. So business analyst activity involves understanding the business problem, conducting stakeholder interviews. Now stakeholder interviews means exactly what? Suppose I am a business analyst, and what I need to do, suppose a project came of end-to-end implementation. Now first of all, I will communicate with each and every person. Stakeholder, each and every person means the sales rep, the sales supervisor, the purchase rep, the purchase supervisor, the CEO, everyone, right? Now preparing the documentation like BRD. Now what is this BRD? Business requirement document. We will discuss this in depth in our upcoming sessions. The complete BRD will be discussed, right? Now BRD, business requirement documentation. In short, I am giving you a very brief introduction of BRD. That is, business requirement documentation means all the requirements that the client want in their new application. They are called business requirement documentation. All those requirements I will note down on a paper, and what is the current scenario and what is required in their new system, that is written and taken the sign off from the client, and that is called the BRD. Okay. Functional required document. Now functional requirement document is like how your modules will work, how the functioning will go. So it includes the flowcharts also, it includes the snapshots also. Actually, once the BRD is signed off, then we have to show the UI design document, then the functional requirement document. So these are all the tasks of business analyst. Business analyst never sits idle. He is having lots and lots of work, right, in a complete project. Then he prepares the use cases also. These are only few examples. Prepare documentation like. These are three. I am showing you few examples. There are n number of documentations that a business analyst prepares, like user guide. User guide is also one document. Now use cases and user stories. Use cases, user stories means like, suppose a furniture selling company, they are implementing NetSuite in their company. Now what happens? Use cases. What type of different use cases? Because at the time of UAT and the unit testing and the UAT, they are required. Okay. Then you will see creating flowcharts and process diagrams. As I said earlier, flowcharts they are included in FRD, right? In BRD also they are included. And then the user acceptance testing, coordinating user acceptance testing. Yes, that is true. User acceptance testing means, for example, like a project is going on, right? Now user acceptance testing is a phase where we have, suppose we have done all the requirements and the customization in a sandbox. Now once we have tested, our developers have tested from their end. So what we do, we prepare a unit test document. Now that unit test document is handed over to the client and client employees, and then they test it from their side, and they will put down the log entries like yes, no, false, true, whatever it is, if it's a pass or fail, everything. So in this way user acceptance testing is conducted. And then the writing user manual and training users. Yes, user manuals are also required. Why? Because suppose let's take our daily life example. You go and purchase the refrigerator or a washing machine, you will get a user manual. It is not necessary that every person is tech friendly. Many of the people, those who come from village, they might not be knowing how to operate the washing machine. So that is why, keeping this thing in mind, the company also produce a user manual training book, right? that comes along with your washing machine or a refrigerator, right? So these are some typical activities of business analyst. This is our fourth point. Now let's take key skill of a successful business analyst. Okay, now let's if we talk about key skill of a business analyst, so what happens here? First of all, the business analyst should be very good in communication skills. He should be able to communicate with the client, he should be able to communicate with anyone, and he should be able to have a good listener also. When we talk about soft skills, there are few things that comes under soft skills. One is the communication, verbal and written both. There should be no question of communication gap, right? Whatever you are providing them, whatever you have taken from the client, that should be written in the BRD. What we are going to provide them, that should be written in the BRD, right? How many types of documents, how many resources are deployed on your project, that should also be, everything should be communicated. So if for this purpose your communication skills should be extremely good. Then active listening, this is under soft skill, right? So active listening is also there. For example, if we talk about here, let's take communication, then active listening. Third is negotiation, right? Now see, active listening means many times what happens, you should allow the front person, another person, to speak freely. If we keep on speaking, our target is to take maximum information from the client, right? Not to show them that how good we are in English. So a BA should be a good listener also. Third is negotiation. Negotiation skills is also necessary. Many times what happens, the person or the client, the employee, he is not having much knowledge about the software or how the software works. He puts something demand which is not possible or which is not feasible. So in that case you should be able to negotiate. For example, if the person says that okay, I will just use Excel sheet and just give me a button and that button will do everything, so you have to explain them, okay, that is fine, but we will provide you the solution and you have to follow this procedure. You have to negotiate with them, right? So negotiation skills is also important. Then we will see here the conflict resolution and time management, right? Now conflict resolution means exactly what? Many times what happens, conflict resolution, in one of my project I have seen these type of things. The person, he was not using NetSuite in a proper way. The procedure what they are instructed, right? The procedure what they are instructed, he was not following that procedure, and he was saying that the answer is not coming correctly or the output is not coming correctly. So you have to resolve these type of things, because many times what happens, the person who is not from tech background, technology background, so in that case this thing consistently happens, okay? And the fifth is the time management. Just a second, where it is, key skills, okay, and the next part is time management. So time management means exactly what? Time management means conducting time to time meetings, right? If any meeting is delayed, that means the further meetings will also be delayed, right? So in this way these things comes under the softer skills. Now let's talk about our analytical skills, right? Now analytical skills means exactly what? Analytical skills includes problem solving. Let me note down here, right? Like this way, okay? analytical skills. That is problem solving. Another is logical reasoning. Third is attention to detail. Now problem solving means, suppose there is a process like let's take an example of P2P, purchase to procure. Now purchase to procure, in a company a person is making purchase order of $1,000, $2,000, and nobody is there who can approve or reject these purchase orders. Once the purchase order is created, now it goes up to the invoice, nobody is there to see what is happening. So at this point of time, problem solving skill comes. I will suggest the client that why don't you use approval routing. Approval routing means a purchase order is created. If it is below 10,000, it will directly go into the invoice part, to the item receipt part. Otherwise it will take permission, then only it will be approved, otherwise it will not approve. This is called problem solving skill. But for that you need to have the complete understanding of how their current business is going on. Then only you can suggest them, okay, this is the problem solving skills. Logical reasoning. Logical reasoning is also there. For example, if the client is demanding something which is already there, but he is demanding in either way, so you have to see whether what we are doing, whether it is logically correct or not, right? Then the third is attention to detail. You have to show the details of what you are offering them, or what you are going to do in that project. So attention to detail is the another point which comes under the analytical skills. Okay, so this was all about the analytical skills, and these analytical skills also required in a business analyst post. Now let's see the documentation skills, right? Here is the documentation skills. Now documentation skills means, it's very simple. See, documentation can be of different types. One is MS Word, Excel, PowerPoint. Suppose I am having 10 subordinates, 10 team members. Now how they are doing, how they are performing, what task is given to them, and how much is completed. Now this thing can't be done into the Word, MS Word, so I have to use Excel sheet. Showing stepwise progress to the client, now this can't be shown into Excel, we can show it better in PowerPoint. And the requirement freezing, requirement freezed document, the BRD, FRD, TRD, technical requirement document, all these things, they can be prepared in MS Word. So a person should be good in MS Office, right? It includes Word, Excel, PPT, that's it. And there are another some tools which is called Visio, Jira, Confluence. All these are the tools which are used for documentation and managing the team, especially managing the team, correct? So these are the documentation skills which are required for a business analyst, right? You should be very good in English communication as well as preparation of documentation. Suppose a business analyst has taken requirement today and after 4 days he is preparing the BRD. So the time is money, so time is consumed here, right? So that is why the documentation should be good enough that a layman or a simple person, common man, can also understand exactly what is going on. Finally is domain understanding. Now see here, another is domain understanding. Now domain understanding means exactly what, right? Now this domain understanding means, suppose I am a business analyst and here you will see, suppose a project comes to the company like related to ERP related project. Now ERP related means end-to-end NetSuite implementation or any other ERP implementation, right? Or the project might be of retail or banking related. Now you should be having the knowledge of all these things, the domain related, right? Suppose I am a business analyst, but I know the process of order to cash, the return material authorization, the items, the inventory, the purchase to procure, right? Pricing, how many types of pricing are there? There are different types of pricing group, all these things. At least you should have all the knowledge of all this, not the scripting knowledge, but at least the how the process goes on, correct? Then basic knowledge of SDLC also. Now basic knowledge of SDLC, system development life cycle, right? We will cover this topic in depth in our upcoming sessions. Right now for you only the surface knowledge I am giving you. System development life cycle is the process in which a development of the software is done. For example, requirement analysis, then the requirement gathering, then the designing, after that the development, then the testing, right? So you should have the knowledge of system development life cycle, right? Let me write down here, system development life cycle. Okay, so these are called some key skills a business analyst should possess. Okay, now let's come again our sixth point, that is business analyst mindset. Now see, what is this business analyst mindset? When we talk about mindset, now see, suppose if we get I am the business analyst and my company has got the software project of implementing of digitizing a complete civil engineer office, right? Civil engineering office, or we can civil engineering project means like it's a business project, but in which pre-sales, sales, right? And then whatever the items, whatever the inventory coming, all these things. Now see here, one is the business analyst mindset, how it should be, the mindset of the business analyst. Let's take mindset, right? Curious, right? Curious means always ask why, right? What is the need of this? Suppose if the person is saying that, oh, I want this type of report to be downloaded or to be immediately sent on email, so we at least you should ask exactly why, what is the need of this, why you are demanding this. Then you will see the structured mindset, right? Think in a flow, steps and category, right? Flow, steps and category, right? That means I have to think the complete process into a flow, right? And then I have to prepare a flow chart. For example, let's take a scenario, a business, a furniture selling company, they are selling their furniture. Now think in a flow means what? Suppose the stakeholder, he said that in our company, if the purchase order is below 10,000, sales rep or the purchase rep can directly approve it. If it is between 10,000 to 50,000, then sales purchase officer is required, and if it is beyond $50,000, then the purchase manager or the purchase supervisor needs to be approved. So in this way I will think everything in a flow, right? And then I will put down the steps, and then I will prepare a flow chart. So this is called structured mindset. Exactly what they want, at least you should have an idea in your mind, you should have a flow. Then understanding what users are truly facing, right? Right, what users are truly facing. Now users are truly facing, for example, if in a company they are struggling with who approved this $50,000 purchase order. In a company there are so many things that goes on parallel. It is not like everything goes smoothly. There are so many things, so you have to think that what they are facing, what problems they are facing, right? And then the next is, don't take sides, always think of the business. For example, if let me write here, always think of business, right? For example, if I meet to one person of a client, he says that I want this and this requirement, and I want everything, I want the access to the purchase also, sales also, everything. Now when you work on a project, when you communicate directly, frequently with the client employees, so definitely a bond of friendship is also developed there. Now you should not take the sides of the people, right? You should think about the business. For example, a person, he is very politely, he is asking to you that can you give me the access to the sales also, the reports also. But you have to think that whether he really need that, whatever he is demanded. So be neutral, right? Always think of the business, don't take sides of the employees. And then be solution oriented, right? Be solution oriented, right? This is called solution oriented. Suggest value adding improvements. Now solution oriented means always suggest value adding improvements, right? So you have to be a solution oriented person. The business analyst should be solution oriented, not just taking what he says, just note down on the paper and then immediately explain it to the technical team. This is just a messenger. It is not BA. Business analyst means he should be curious, he should be structured, he should understand what user is truly facing, then be neutral, don't take sides, always think of business. And then another is solution oriented, value added solution, what the value you are adding, right? For example, in one of my project, I faced one requirement there. What happens, suppose there are 100 purchase orders are created. Now many times what happens, the vendor, he delays from his side. Now he delays from his side, and that is why the due date is passed, and there are so many purchase orders which are not received from the vendor side, just because of the delay from the vendor side. Now what we have done, a solution for this, we have, I am talking about the ERP solution, right? What we have done, we have given a Suitlet page for him, a separate page in NetSuite, and then for this no license purchasing is required, just with the help of Suitlet is also sufficient. So what we have done, we have prepared a Suitlet page. In that I have shown them all the list of purchase orders which are where the due date is passed, right? And then the person will just go on ticking the purchase orders, and then he can be able to close those purchase orders, right? So in this way, suggest a value adding improvements, right? So in this way you can add the value, okay? Then next part is tools which are used by business analyst. Now the tools which are used by business analyst is, see, there are so many tools which are used by the business analyst. One is MS Office, then the draw.io, it's also a tool, right? And Jira, Trello, Asana, these are the project management tools, right? These are the project management tools. And Confluence and Google Doc, these are the document collaboration tools. That means the documents, every document is connected with another document. So these are some tools. Okay, now just a second here. Yes, our next point is real-time scenario or the storytelling. See, suppose now I'm giving you the complete scenario. I'm giving you a complete scenario of a real life project. See, a retail company wants to automate their sales and invoicing using ERP, right? Now take a scenario. Let's suppose here I am taking a paint shop here, right? Let's suppose it's a company here, right? Furniture selling company, right? Now they want to automate their order to cash. That is order to cash, that is related to sales order, P2P, okay, right? And pricing, right? And the items and inventory, right? So this is what they want. Now BA will talk to the sales team, finance team, the IT and IT to understand their pain points, right? Then prepares a document like BRD, FRD, TDD, right? Flow charts, right? And then he worked with the software team, technical team, and then conduct UAT, right? So these are the task of a business analyst, right? So business analyst does all these tasks. Now let's see this, the career path for a business analyst. Now see, career path for a business analyst is like this. For example, first of all, you have to have the degree in any technical field, right? If you are from technical field, that is well and good, because a technical person can become a business analyst also, because he is having the technical skills also and as well as the functioning skills also, right? So junior BA to BA, BA to senior BA, then the lead BA, business analyst, then the product owner, then the product manager, project manager, right? And then finally the consultant, right? And can specializes in data analysis, ERP, CRM, customer relationship management. See, in the initial of this session I have already explained you that it is not necessary that BA should be in the software IT company. BA can be in any field. He can be a specialist of data analysis, data migration, the ERP implementation, the product management, the UX UI research, right? And these are some certifications: Agile Business Analyst certification, the Scrum PMP basic for project management, right? So this today's discussion was based on all like what is business analyst, what type of business analyst are required in different projects, what are the soft skills, what are the skills needed to become, what education is required to become a business analyst, and what are the things which are required in a business analyst, whether it is a written communication skills or verbal communication skills, right? So today we have seen exactly what is business analyst, what is business analyst. Now in our tomorrow's session we will see, like in our tomorrow's session we will see that who can become a business analyst, right? In different projects, what is the role of a business analyst? We will cover all these things in our tomorrow's session, right? So this is all about the business analyst and day one introduction, right? So guys, it's going to be a very interesting session series, right? So keep watching this series, and if you have not subscribed my channel or you are the first time viewers, then subscribe my channel and like my videos so that you will get the notification, right? And in our next session we will see who can become a business analyst, or what are the different types of business analyst, right? We will see in depth. So guys, thanks a lot, thanks for watching, for attending the session, the webinar. Tomorrow same time again we will meet again. Okay, thank you guys, thanks a lot, see you tomorrow.